Okay, we're live, and I'm gonna post a link. We're live on YouTube, and I'm gonna post a link to the page, and I'll pin a comment, so pin it so it's right.
Thank you. So for anybody who didn't hear that, we are currently live. There's a meeting post on Facebook that links to the YouTube live meeting. Welcome everybody to the April 7th special meeting of the MCS Board of Directors. We have with us tonight the board, Janet Carter, our ED, Sheriff Lane McGill, and various community members and parents in the meeting. We have some pre-submitted public comment, which I'll go through. We have an agenda tonight. The agenda goes through this welcome and introduction we just did, pre-submitted public comment, and we'll go into executive session. We do have a quorum tonight. The board will come back from the exec session and read a board statement, an ED statement of action, and then we'll adjourn. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anybody from the board? Okay. My first public comment is from Jill Maynard and Jesse Buckwater. Walter, I'll read these to you here. On Wednesday evening, when we heard from fellow MCS parents about the threat to a teacher at MCS that had occurred Tuesday morning, we went to the district attorney to express our concerns and see what legal options were available. The DA recognized the severity of the threat, but acknowledged the limited legal options to address the perpetrator directly. After this, we participated in an impromptu meeting with Janet Carter to clarify details of the incident and to understand what was being done in response. During this meeting, we came to feel that the school wasn't taking the incident as a serious threat, possibly since the perpetrator was a former student, formerly well known to many involved. However, we felt that considering the physical proximity of the perpetrator to the school, as well as the sustained, repeated, and focused threatening behavior towards the teacher and his perceived grievances towards the school in general, this threat warrants serious security measures at the school. We came to the above conclusion after seeing a copy of the actual threat and after learning of a former incident involving disturbing and hateful note left to teachers, presumably by the same individual, a couple of months prior, and after seeing how shaken the teacher being threatened was. We also learned that the note had been discarded and not made known to anyone. We also, along with several other families who learned of the situation, did not feel comfortable sending our kids to the school until security steps were taken. We were relieved to learn that the school was canceled today, Friday, April 7th, especially after learning that the perpetrator was back in Mosier, having been released from treatment facility. We feel strongly that in order for kids to be safe and for parents to feel comfortable sending to the school, a number of measures need to be taken, possibly including the below. Change the locks on all exterior doors, since the perpetrator had access to school keys in the past and may have made copies. Possibly add more secure, barred from inside style locks on classroom doors. Hire professional school security personnel for the remainder of the school year or until this particular threat is removed. Install security cameras. The school should request a police investigation into whether the perpetrator or family members have purchased guns in the recent past. The school should put in an official request to the sheriff's office to increase patrols at the school. The school should contact the federal prosecutor's office in Portland to inquire about available legal avenues. Specifically, they should inquire about 18 USC section 875C. It is a federal crime to transmit in interstate commerce any communication containing any threat to injure the person of another. We already left a message with the prosecutor's office yesterday and will continue to follow up. The school should too. Potentially submit the incident to tips.fbi.gov as described on their website. Consider keeping the school closed until major safety measures are implemented. Institute clear protocols to be followed in the case of future security threats. In conclusion, the nature and severity of this threat warrant the MCS board, District 21's full attention right now. Additionally, the MCS board and District 21 need to scrutinize the shortcomings of the initial response to this threat, since kids and staff were and continue to be at risk. Also, as a parent, it has been very unnerving and worrisome. We appreciate the board convening this emergency meeting. We look forward to learning about the outcome. Sincerely, Jill Maynard, Jesse Buckwalter. I have another comment I'll read now. This is a comment sent in from the Kimes. It was sent in to our board member, Cindy, who sent it to me. And this is, I'm reading from email here. Cindy, here are my thoughts on my meeting with Janet, as well as future concerns for the situation. Thank you and your fellow board members for reacting and implementing safety protocols to make the school safe for staff and students. We first met with the DA's office to see if further legal action could be pursued and gain insight on what were the next steps to be taken so that we could have as much information as possible. We collectively brainstormed some ideas that could be implemented quickly that we could take to Janet and plan to meet it up in her office after the lockdown drill. Immediately upon approaching the building, I took note that the door was propped open and we were able to freely enter the building. I know Janet was surprised by our visit, but was able to give us the time to express our concerns. She immediately informed us that her priority had been consumed by the lockdown drill and that she had not yet had time to follow up to the threat situation. We expressed our concern and need for urgency on the matter, as all threats need to be taken seriously and reacted to quickly in the chance that the threat may become a reality. Janet went on to say that some of the below issues were already being addressed prior to the situation, but that the fixes would not start taking place until the summer. I sent her the below email, as well as 2 others concerning quick and inexpensive camera options in local security businesses. I sent her the info as she was not taking any notes during the meeting, and I wanted to make sure that she had the information. When we asked about hiring a security guard, her response was, sure, if you want to look into that. And she told us that Ms. Rogan had requested a camera for her building as well. And Janet told her she could get this done. She could get one. At one point in the middle of the meeting, Janet said, now that I have parents in my house, I need to make this a priority, and went on to say that she knows the young man and told us her background with him. After the meeting, it was clear, in my opinion, that Janet did not take this threat seriously or to make safety a priority until after our conversation, and she initially took only the required minimal steps of notifying the police upon Trish's request and sending it out to the district letter. The parents' requests are as follows. Restraining order completed by Savannah, which is in progress. Emergency staff meeting to communicate threat, which was completed Thursday afternoon. Remove access by the father's soccer team to school immediately, which was completed after the meeting with Janet. Change locks immediately. Cameras installed. And these are the notes I'm reading, by the way. I provided links to quick, easy, and inexpensive camera system that can be set up immediately. Security on site during school hours upon the person's return to home. I provided names to local companies to get bids. New doors and locks put in. Add additional lighting around the perimeter of the building. It is very dark during our winter days. DA says to communicate. He appears dangerous and is a very concerning situation. When he's released, ask police department for extra patrols around the school and neighborhood. Operate school on lock-in mode for the remainder of the school year. And there's some additional concerns. Janet informed us that 3 months ago, threatening notes with the same verbiage were found on the bulletin board in the staff lounge against Kathy Mann and Savannah Rogan. Jen Langley took the notes to Janet, and Janet said, I don't know who wrote these or where they came from. Probably just some kid, throw them away. Why were the notes not addressed and researched appropriately? The people they concerned were never notified of them, and nothing has ever looked into about how they ended up in the teacher's lounge. How can we make improvements to make our building safe quickly? The major concern I have is that 3 of the middle school classrooms do not have a place where students and staff can hide unseen from the outside. At this point, anyone can easily enter any classroom quite easily with our current building conditions. What can be done with the proximity of the threatened person's living situation? Currently, he does not even have to leave his home to do damage to the school. We all hope that we are being cautious for no reason, but I do think it is necessary to take the threat seriously and implement safety protocols immediately. Thank you for your time, Stephanie Kime. Those are the 2 comments that I have. This meeting will focus on the safety measures that we will be taking in response to the threat that we received. And that will be the sole focus of this meeting. Spare Flame to go, I will leave it to you now to make your statement.
Well, thank you, Chair Watson. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good. I always like to ask that question in this whole world of technology. Sometimes it cuts in and out, so I want to make sure I'm heard. So I'm just going to read. This is a press release that's been provided to the Mosier School, just so everybody knows and is listening. We do this on, quite frankly, and unfortunately, a very regular basis. We have a situation that's similar that's happening in Dufur right now. a second incident at the Mosier School as well. We're also working on stuff that's at the District 21 offices. And so this isn't just something that come out of nowhere with just Mosier in particularly. So this, I'm just going to read it because it's just easier for me to do that. So, and it's a press release, it's public information. So you guys can post it or use it however you'd like to do that through the Mosier School. So on the early morning of April 4th at approximately 7:30 in the morning of 2023, the Wasco County Sheriff's Office was advised of a potential security threat to the Mosier School. This threat indicated an individual was frustrated with events of the past at the school and that a staff member was potentially to blame for his feelings. As many of you know, the Sheriff's Office takes all school threats very serious, and in this case, we dispatched 3 deputies, 2 investigators, 3 Oregon State Police troopers, and 1 investigator from the Hood River Police Department, for a total of 7 individuals or 8 individuals. As it relates to this incident, the Wasco County Sheriff's Office works collaboratively with all of our schools in the county, and that includes the Mosier School District. We train with our schools to include Mosier School District regularly throughout the school year as per requirements. During these school trainings, the Sheriff's Office directly engages with students as well as staff in school assemblies or other staff trainings. This training provides the students and staff the opportunity to ask important questions about how they can be safe and what law enforcement is doing to protect them while at the school. As a speaker to your students and staff, I've advocated for the see something, say something mindset. When talking about see something, say something, all statements that are concerning by students and staff are taken seriously, and this incident is no different. As a matter of fact, this incident is a great example of Principal Janet Carter utilizing the above mindset. Janet, immediately upon learning of a potential threat to the school, called our 911 center and reported her concerns. Upon arrival of law enforcement, we began an investigation and learned the potential suspect lived next door to the school. Law enforcement immediately contacted the resident and began an intensive investigation. In addition, other law enforcement representatives interviewed Janet and other staff members to gain a clear picture of the events and how to best proceed, ensuring the safety of all individuals involved. This collaborative investigation led law enforcement and school staff to determine a course of action, and safety precautions were implemented to keep everyone safe. One of these safety actions was to evaluate the suspect's intention and determine if any crime had occurred. These efforts determined the individual had committed no crime, but was suffering from some sort of emotional disturbance related events in the past. Also, law enforcement investigators determined there was no indication of weapons at the residence. Law enforcement worked with this individual, his family, and Mid-Columbia Center for Living Crisis Response Team. During this process, the individual expressed a desire to speak further with professional doctors and was voluntarily transported to Unity Hospital in Portland, Oregon by a family member. While most may assume the above actions by Mosier staff and law enforcement would end with this part of the investigation, it must be noted we continue to follow up and make sure certain safety measures are in place for the safety of the school and staff. We have or are currently conducting the following points. During this time, for the last several days, the Sheriff's Office has conducted additional patrols in and around school property. The Sheriff's Office has also provided additional patrols around the staff members' residence. Investigators are working directly with Mid-Columbia Center for Living to make sure the investigation is complete. The suspect has been trespassed from all school property and the individual staff members' property. An immediate family member to the suspect had a key to the gymnasium related to a signed agreement. This key has been returned to Mosier staff. Mosier School has taken the following actions. All school rentals regarding school property and buildings has been temporarily suspended. Mosier School changed or is in process of changing locks and adjusting safety and security measures for the facility. And one final action note, a threat assessment it will be conducted by a threat assessment team. That will come here in the near future. So it should be noted the individual was released from Unity voluntarily. They voluntarily went, they were released from Unity and returned home, and then contacted Mid-Columbia Center for Living staff and crisis worker with follow-up appointments. As of April 6, 2023, the individual is actively following a plan put into place by mental health practitioners. So in conclusion, I would like to thank everyone that's been involved with this incident, including the Mosier School staff, for their professionalism and genuine care for safety and security of the Mosier School. And I signed that myself. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff. So that's the public statement from the sheriff. We're now going to go into executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660.2K, which is to consider matters related to school safety or a plan that responds to safety threats made towards the school. This meeting that you're currently in, for everybody who's here, will end. We will go into exec session with all the board, which all the board members have been given a link for that. We will then come out of exec session. The results of that meeting will be posted in a comment on our website and on Facebook. So you'll be able to see the results from the executive session meeting. Thank you all for joining us, and please be in touch. And Janet, will you forward that link to Sheriff Lane Miguel, please? It's in your email.
Yes.